Hello.
Is there anybody in there?
Welcome. Tom and Q Show, episode 11. We're here April 25th. It's amazing. It's April 25th. It's like May's going to be here.
25th? 26th.
See, that's where I'm at today.
We are numb today.
April 26th.
We missed a day.
I wrote 25. This is where the show is actually going to go today. I'm telling you right now.
That was unscripted.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly how it's going to be, that type of day. So, I'm Tom. This is Q. It's April 26th. Tom and Q Show. We are here. We are live down in the bunker. We've got hardly any topics that we know are just going to go different places. We have topics. We're always prepared, but we're always unprepared to be prepared. So,
unprepared to be. I like that.
Yes. So,
or we're prepared to be unprepared.
Prepared. That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a list of stuff that is really small, and it's not for lack of stuff to talk about. It's just kind of the place that mostly me today is in. So, yeah. So I will apologize in advance for the scatterbrainness, but we're here. We're alive. We're alert. We feel great. Let's get to podcast stats.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite. Well, ours anyway.
Yeah. Just as I heard,
I'm sharing this on our page, and what a great caption. Prepared to be unprepared. just go with it.
What's funny is, and this is where again, like this is where the show's gonna go, because I completely kind of lost my train of thought there, where I was even gonna talk about. So we'll just go into. Oh no, I know what it was. You know the Mayhem commercials.
Yeah.
And I heard a line. It was just in the background, and it was a Mayhem commercial, and he's like, so tens and tens of viewers can see it. And I'm like, man, I wish we had tens and tens of listeners, viewers. And I started thinking, like,
we've got tens of viewers.
You know, we talk about the Bible.
Well, viewers are downloaders. It's two different things. I think we get great viewership.
You know, we talk about the Bible like all the time. Like I'm like waiting for a day. Like, you know, when they get all the fish, right? When Jesus provides the fish. And like all these fish.
Yeah.
Like I want to come in like one day and like look at this and be like 200.
Man,
what? Yeah. What do we do? I don't know. That being said, last week Easter experience. We talked about a bunch of stuff. We talked about what our traditions were, what we did, kind of our weekend, our experiences, all that type of stuff. And it was a fun show. We had 8 downloads, which is up 1. So we picked up a listener. Yay! Hello, caller. Let's dive into stats because we're big on stats.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had 7 last week, right? The sharp decline. 2 days worth of podcasters. 8 of them. Well, I gave away the thing there. Said 100%.
Okay.
So 100% of the people are in the United States.
Oh, we lost Hans this week?
You know, is it a German holiday?
Whole week?
He'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Maybe he had internet issues.
Right.
You know, maybe yeah. I don't want to get into where Hans may or may not be. We just hope he's safe. Chicago, Illinois, 28%. Cincinnati, Ohio, 28%. Columbus, Ohio, Cbus, 14%. Orlando, Florida, 14%. And Mason, Ohio, 14%. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in, for downloading, whether it's your computer, your smart speaker, your iPhone, whatever it is. We just really appreciate it. We'll have this sucker up from today, tomorrow, to last for the week. So let's see. That's 8. And maybe we can help us make it to 9. If we can make it to 9, we want those tens and tens.
We want those tens and tens of
downloaders. Of downloaders, podcasters. You know, I wish we had a product to sell, like to the 8 people. Like, maybe we come up with some crafty. I can start making birdhouses or something.
Cornhole boards.
Yeah.
I like birdhouses.
Birdhouses. Nobody does that, right?
Right.
Who's gonna buy a birdhouse? Well, you never know. Put it out there.
Yeah.
Next time you'll see me on
nice wooded lot.
You'll see me on like the high school craft shows.
That'll be our housewarming gift at closings.
Birdhouse.
It's a birdhouse.
an exact replica of the house that you just bought.
Oh, you're going all in.
No, not quite. So speaking of houses, our real estate topic this week is realtor relationships.
Yeah.
And we could take that a step further, and I'll give you a story that I had today. So we've had a pretty busy week, whether it was, everybody's busy. We're all busy, so I don't mean it in terms of that. It just, phone's kind of been ringing off the hook. I got one particular hot property right now that, it's blowing up. It's blowing up, which is great. And that's the service that we provide, right?
There you go.
But it's crazy when you get to the situation where it's like you just can't. You want to answer your phone, but you get to a point where it's I can't do another conversation about this particular property. Blah 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 blah. It's an oddball situation where it's owned by a corporation, and when you're dealing with that, it doesn't really move quickly, right? Because there's a lot of people a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of steps that need to take place, contacts, so on and so forth. Not to mention, a lot of times they're, your typical 9 to 5 type folks, and they're not in the 24-hour on-call business like you and I are, right? And so most people in my career, adversaries, colleagues, whatever you want to call it, they're professional, they're humble, they're good agents that are working in the best interest of their client.
Correct.
Okay. Which is our job, which is our duty, which is our ethical duty, right? You won't catch me patting myself on the back to another agent, definitely not to another agent, and definitely not to a client.
I think I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
So I get a call today shortly before you came, and it's an agent, and again, I won't name any names, but how the conversation went was he sent a particular offer on this property, no call, no nothing. No real no text, real conversation. Usually if I send an offer or something, I'm going to send you a message or call you saying, "Hey, I just sent this offer. If you have any questions, let me know. Just please make sure that you received it."
Yeah, just confirmation, just communication, right?
Yeah, because
tennis, I served it, return it.
Nobody really, we trust the interwebs, but when it comes down to it, you send it off into space, and you don't know until you get that message back.
Yeah.
Or just like a text message. Well, why isn't somebody responding?
I've sent offers in the past and hey, did you get this? And they were like, no.
Yeah, right.
I said, huh? And I'm looking at my emails. I'm like, no, I sent it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I overlooked it.
Right.
I got it. Oops. I'm sorry. So, well, that offer expired 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Oh, no. And it is kind of a and it is kind of a standstill moment of, guys, I've been trying to get a hold of you. But I do exactly like you do. It's like offer sent, text message, and call. So I make sure that I get confirmation, and we're at the mercy of and there are a lot of good agents out there. There really are, but there are some that
well, we also make mistakes too.
Correct.
So that doesn't necessarily implicate that agent is a bad agent.
Correct.
If you're getting
so they do it part-time. Sometimes they overlook it, or it's again, to your point, it's, I missed it. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Well, where do we go from here? Forward.
Right.
Forward.
Right.
We always go forward. Here's where we are. Go forward. All right. Let me get on horn. Let me contact my client. Let's keep this ball rolling. I understand the situation, so I will work with a sense of urgency, and life will stand still outside of that particular transaction, and it's get things back in line. Okay, we've reeled it back in, and you're back on track.
Right.
If that's the mindset of both agents
and
with their client's best interest.
Even in that case, and let's just use in that scenario that the property at that point is under contract. They missed it, it's under contract. You still can move forward. It's just at this moment in time, it's really, I'm sorry, I missed it. It's a really strong offer, but I didn't see it. We've actually already done it. Yeah, it sucks, but it's an error. It's inexcusable, but again, humans are involved. Humans make mistakes, right? And that's humility, right? That's the definition of humility.
I agree with that.
My bad, right? And basically, so I'm holding this conversation today, and again, this property is extremely busy, getting all kinds of calls. And if they leave me voicemails, I've listened to voicemails. I've made all the necessary calls back. I've returned text messages. But if you send me an offer and you don't correspond, which I did my due diligence, I sent the offer where it needed to go. I get the phone call and it's, "Hey, Tom, I've been trying to reach you. You can't make money if you don't answer your phone." And
Oh, you're my boss.
I'm like, "That's true." And I responded to this guy in return with, "That's very true. However, if you had this property, you wouldn't answer every single phone call either, because you're either texting somebody else, you're either on the phone, or maybe you're just taking a deep breath for a minute."
Right.
Right? And so,
I'm making money, not answering my
and
phone,
so
showing houses, working with other clients.
Right.
There's so many things on the
Right.
other side that...
And so he then proceeds, he kind of chuckles a little bit, and he's like, "Well, I sent you an offer. I signed 10 contracts this weekend. I want to get this done." And I'm like, I tell him, I said, "I'm extremely happy for you that you're successful." I said, "I like to think that I'm successful too. However, your 10 contracts have nothing to do with mine right now." I said, "Let me fill you in on this." I said, "This is corporately owned property. I don't care about your 10 contracts. And honestly, I'd love to do business with you. But there's nothing in this that's going, regardless of what I do, there is nothing that's going to make this go any faster than what this actual process is."
Yeah. That's interesting, how that flow of that conversation, because what we do, every conversation that we engage in is a negotiation of some form or fashion. Every single one of them is. And a lot of times we do deal with that agent on the other side that is the loudest voice in the room, and they call and they try to dictate the terms of how everything's going to go.
Right.
And you can easily get bullied. So it's to pump the brakes. Like, no, that is not how this transaction is going to go.
Right.
I'm in charge of this transaction. And the fact that we're in a position to negotiate, and some people don't think of that as a negotiation, but it 100% is. I am not getting bullied by you on the other end of this line. I'm not impressed with your 10 contracts.
Right.
I've had those weekends before as well. Yeah. It is what it is. Good for you. But I'm in charge of this side of the transaction, and I'm going to go at my pace.
And
to represent my client the best possible way that I can is I'm slamming the brakes on you. And there are those there are those people in life.
Right.
And of course there are those agents out there as well that try to run the show of the entire transaction, and it's like, no. My client comes before you and your ego.
Now, if it was a property that wasn't packed and stacked with people going to see it today, and me knowing that there's going to be more in there, if I was concerned at all for my clients in this particular property, I just said, "Bring me your $28 million."
Right.
Plain simple, right? But the bottom line is, like, we get hired ethically to represent our clients. Whether we have a client on the buyer side and the seller side, it still is important to be ethical. We're not going to tell the seller side, "Hey, this buyer has $28 million. He's going to go higher." In the same sense, I'm not going to tell this particular buyer that, "Hey, they'll take,
right,
X amount of dollars." You just
right.
provide facts, and you let grown-ups make grown-ups.
Yeah.
In this conversation, because then I'm holding a conversation about the same property with another agent that I've been in the business in a while. Extremely polite, extremely professional, extremely willing to work.
Yeah.
This particular agent was, like you said, trying to. I don't care if you're on the $1 Million Listing Show. I don't care if you're Chip and Joanna. It doesn't affect me.
Zero.
Whatsoever.
Zero.
And I really, Chip, Joanna, send me your
offer.
Yeah, and then send me your autograph. If I really was that impressed, like, "Hey, send me your autograph."
That should be the, Tom, I've been doing this for 28 years. Oh, that's good. Can I have your autograph?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I don't know what to say to that.
The last I checked, and I've tried this before.
Live stream interrupted.
I have not been able to hold my pair of pants and jump into them.
All right.
So I still put my pants on one leg at a time. This particular guy, maybe he doesn't. He didn't. We really didn't get into that, but it doesn't change. Like when we're it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's that relationship where it's like I'm leaving that conversation and I'm thinking like, what just happened? And I even like went, because we've done classes and we've heard spiels on how to do, like the how-to books and like,
Yeah.
if you want to talk to people, this is how, I took a sales class in college, and every agent, every salesperson, they have their techniques, they have their script, the thing that they go to.
Yes.
And I left that conversation like where did that ever enter into anything? Like it was just so. Like
I don't know. I think people just in life in general need to validate their self-worth, right? It's just what people need to do inside and outside of transactions. That's why you do this long enough and you realize that every single thing you say or do is a negotiation. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, like your tone, your pitch, your cadence, your body language, just the timing of the call, everything evolves into a negotiation. And we talked about it with Urban Meyer back in the day, that when that girl pressed into him, that was a form of negotiation.
Yeah.
She pressed, he didn't respond, so she won that negotiation and pressed further. Agent calls her, "Hey Tom, let me tell you how to run your business." Pump the brakes, buddy. Mm-hmm. I'm not impressed with you.
Alexa, play My Way.
Ooh, Usher.
Here's My Way by Elvis Presley.
Oh, or Elway.
That's what I was going for.
Elvis. So yeah, it's neat to refine that craft and to go in on that when you observe those behaviors and you realize your responsibility in those situations as well when it comes to representing your client. And it's neat to hear that weekend, because we've been there, as far as dealing with those personalities. But people, for some reason, they need to validate themselves with whatever it is of, hey, let me tell you who I am first. One of you mentioned that we've gone to like negotiation class. We've seen things, we've heard things, we've been taught things, or mentors here and there. I think one of my favorite, and it just stuck so powerfully to me, is a guy that came and Pivot had him come in, and Daryl Davis was his name. Mm-hmm. He said, when you're dealing with people, the first 60 seconds you're dealing with them, they're in character. He said, I come from New York, I come from Broadway, and people have to go in character for their acts, right?
Right.
So your first 60 seconds, they're in character. So you just have to endure their first 60 seconds of who they think they are, validating themselves and who they want to be. And if you can endure that first 60 seconds, just hold on and be patient through that time, then you will get the true person and their true objectives and what they're truly trying to accomplish.
You got to peel back the onion.
So 100%. So it's that guy that calls it, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. This is my skill set. I've done 10 offers over the weekend. Let me tell you how the transaction is going to go. It's like you're in character because you're validating yourself, and you need to come across that you're going to be in charge of this. Okay, I'm going to let you have your 60 seconds of ego. Good for you, buddy. Okay, now that you're done loving yourself, can we talk about the transaction?
Right.
And okay, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Good. Here's what I'm going to accomplish with my client. And it's just, hold on, that first 60 seconds. And some of that was scripted, like to door knocking when we go to a house and we try to pick up business and we knock on the door and it's, hey, activity in your neighborhood. Those people, they don't want you on their doorstep in the first place.
Right.
So they put up these walls, and it's like, I'm just here as a resource. I'm not trying to sell your house.
Right.
Unless you want to sell it.
Right.
I'm not trying to buy your house. Unless you want to sell it. Right. But it's endure those 60 seconds. And I loved it so much that I do it in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Like sometimes talking with Jessica, like there's a moment in life to where a spouse gets frustrated, and it's like, hold on, she's mad for a second. This isn't truly her. And I even do it with myself. Like, hold on, I'm mad. This isn't me. I'm just responding to the situation. And then once it boils over, it's like, all right, let me collect my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's neat to look at it through that lens and look at life through that lens of, this guy's just a character. It's not who he truly is.
I took a class. It was a sales class, again, way back when, a different life, no idea that this was actually going to be my life, right? But there's
Isn't
certain,
that funny too? Just
Yeah.
life. It's
Yeah.
so poetic.
and so like even you're talking about, this is my favorite song of all time, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I took the blows. Yeah. I've done it on karaoke. Elvis rose up out of his grave, I think, when that actually happened.
Cheering, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And
So you're growing a beard out so you can get some chops in.
well, wasn't going for that. No, this is the type, we get into our weekend and everything like that, and it's like we're always on the go. And let's go back to that, because I told you this show, I don't know where it's going to go. Okay, but I wanted to, like, there was a teacher, his name was, professor was Mr. Ahern, and it was a night class, and there was only like 10 of us in there, and even his sales technique was never about me, right?
Yeah.
So like, we talk about probing questions and stuff like that, and if you're a telemarketer, you've got your script and stuff that you're going
80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
Listen 80, talk 20. Yep.
So one of the things that he said was, you really don't need a script. In your opinion, do you feel? So like you put the onus back on the person
I agree with that 100%.
that you're talking to. And then you're, in the same sense, you're getting that emotion, you're getting that opinion of what it is that they're trying to accomplish, if anything.
Yeah, and that puts your objective on the shelf because it's not about you.
Right.
What are you trying to accomplish out of this? And when that question keeps coming up, you learn more about them. And so, speaking of the Bible, one of my favorite verses, James 3:17, and it's heavenly wisdom, and one of those are to be unbiased, impartial. It's a great quality.
Yeah.
And it's how many times in life are you biased to your own opinion?
Right.
So to ask questions of them first, what are you trying to accomplish here? What do you set out to do? It really helps you stay out of the equation altogether. But I love that. I love that.
Fill in the blank. It was, in your opinion, do you feel? Right?
Yep.
Like whatever it is you're talking about. Like, what kind of coffee do you want? In your opinion, do you feel that cream is important? No, I don't. Oh, okay. Well, in your opinion, do you feel that sugar is important? Yeah, I do like sugar. Okay. In your opinion, and you just kind of keep going to where, like, the particular person, like, you're getting this information without like disrupting anything. You're putting it back on them and making them talk, right? So, in your opinion, do you feel? Questions. That's the sales topic, but the realtor relationships are extremely important, and I'm sure you've had them, and I've had them too, to where it goes the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times like where I've been wrong, where it's like, just my nature is just, if there's something I don't like, a lot of times, like in life, like I'm right, and then you have to back up, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, that didn't start off so well, let's go backwards instead of moving forward. Let's go backwards. My bad. And then there's other times where it's like, no, I was absolutely in the right, and your behavior or your reaction was wrong. And then there's other times where it's like, you got to be stiff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like the lady that you were talking to, like, yeah, I screwed up. I'm sorry, but we are moving forward with this.
Yes.
I can take that too. So you have to be able to adjust whatever the temperature is, but you also have to be able to kick it up a notch to do your job just as much, right?
100%.
So
every conversation is a negotiation in some form or fashion, and yeah, I liked your example too, because it's, and I can't get away from it because I so many that just come in my head where I giggle. So I was coaching yesterday, and a situation came up, and I was like, huh, interesting. Two of the girls like, you say that all the time, coach. I'm like, I do, because it's my method of,
right.
When you get into those situations where someone calls,
Maybe they'll get you a T-shirt
like,
that says,
huh,
interesting.
And it's like, it's interesting the way that you started this phone call. It's interesting the tone that you set from the beginning. It's like, it's kind of an outer body experience of like, interesting the way this could potentially go. And it's just my form of slowing down the situation.
Right.
Like, let me collect data, let me collect facts. Now I'm going to respond.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So that's if that guy would have called me and said exactly that, I wrote 10 offers this weekend, got them all accepted, I would have said, interesting.
See, I didn't do that.
But that's my verbiage. That's my method.
I kind of treated him like an umpire that made a bad call.
Yeah.
Right? And it was, I could have used, interesting.
Right.
I could have said, in your opinion, do you feel that what you just told me is important in this transaction?
Yeah, and I would have been fully prepared of,
And
interesting. What's interesting? The way you started this phone call. That's an interesting negotiation strategy to me.
Yeah.
So, but hey, here's what's going on from this second forward.
Right. Like, I am control your narrative, right? I am going to control the narrative of this conversation. So, people, when you are choosing real estate agents, think about that particular agent and what type of relationships they would have with other agents and other people in general. That, to me, is one of the most important parts, short of what type of relationship am I going to have with my client, obviously, first. But in the best interest of that relationship with your client, it's important to have good working relationships with your colleagues and other people that are in the business, and to be that professional to where people can be open and honest. And if every conversation is a negotiation, like, what can we do to make
a deal that I just got under contract yesterday? Actually, it was or 2 days ago, within the last couple of days. So the rapport on the other end, that agent, Quentin, I appreciate how hard you're working for your client. We feel comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And that representation of fighting on the other end of this transaction. So there is a very positive twist to a discouraging one is controlling the narrative. I'm here to represent my client. What do we need to do? How do we need to do this? What's interest? It's 50-50. We need to win this. And to get them the house is the objective. So it's, hey, Quentin, I appreciate your fight for your client. We're going to go with you guys because we just feel comfortable with that.
Right. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. We've talked about how hard it is to buy.
And that agent doesn't know how long I've been in the industry.
Doesn't care.
That agent doesn't care how long I've been here. She doesn't know how many offers I wrote over the weekend. She doesn't care.
Right.
And, they don't care.
No, it has no bounding effect on anything that we're doing at this very moment. It's like Joey Votto shows up, tries out for the Bengals. Hey, I'm Joey Votto.
I've played professional sports for.
I'm going to be a Hall of Famer. I've been in Cincinnati, however, 15 years. Been an All-Star. Been an MVP. Oh yeah, you ever caught a football before from a professional quarterback?
Middle school.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what are your qualifications again on this particular field that we're playing on? Oh, I don't have any. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what are your qualifications in this particular transaction? Oh, you don't. In your opinion, do you feel you have qualifications for this particular transaction? Oh, you don't. Okay, I do. Let's move forward.
I applaud you with staying in character for so long.
Yeah. And
Your 60 seconds are up.
I just picture a dude like in slick back hair, 3-piece suit, like, and like yeah, like I don't know. Just there's certain conversations that kind of rub you the wrong way.
100%.
Where it wasn't like the guy had a bad attitude, but it was just like I was like, in my head, I'm like, interesting.
Is this Terrell Owens on the other end?
I'm like,
you love you some you, don't you?
Yeah. I'm like, interesting. I was thinking about tactics. Like, okay, that's just like you said. In my own way, I'm like, man, that is. If you're trying to get a leg up, like that's just not how. This is not how I would operate. I just like I like being a person. I don't need to be a character of myself.
Right.
So anyway, make sure that anybody that you're working with, that they,
has the ability to carry on a productive conversation and has your best interest.
Correct.
Not their own best interest.
Yes. So I digress. Let's play a tune. Let's flip the wheel.
Okay.
Since I learned how to do this on the computer, which we should have done.
1986. It's a good year.
Top
40.
Oh, this has got Kenny Loggins written all over it.
11. Top 40 from 1986. The number 11 song from 1986.
Casey counts them down. American Top 40.
Probably moves quicker there anyway, huh?
It does. I don't know how we never thought about it before.
Well,
Watkins said that we could actually, which we'll have to figure out sometime, just play it to that with it, like from the
gotta
computer.
connect this to that then?
Somehow. All right, here we go. What was the number?
11.
Number 11.
You said Kenny Loggins.
I'm guessing it's Kenny Loggins. Highway. Was it Danger Zone?
Oh. Ooh, what?
Oh, starts.
Top Gun. When did that come out? Was that out in
I think it was
86?
1986.
Yeah?
I think. Did you see the trailer for the new one?
No.
Oh, it's awesome.
I wanted to say I did, but as I processed the thought, it was. So I almost went into character of just agreeing with you. Yeah. But no, I was like, no, break character. Out of it. No. Mess with somebody like, yeah, did you guys see that? Yeah, no, it never happened. I just made it up to see.
So this may play, this may not play, but we'll give it a shot. Alexa, play The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. The number 11 top 40 song
Greatest love of all
in 1986.
on Amazon Music.
Whitney Houston.
Sounds
The
good.
Greatest Love of All.
This is my
That was my
favorite
best.
song of all time, by the way.
That was my favorite. Can we just play our favorites, playing the hits? Tune in.
Host recommended.
Love,
It's like when you go to Blockbuster and it had like employee recommended shelf
Yeah.
for the movies.
Yeah.
Today we're playing show host recommended.
The old network video. They had the back room. Like kids weren't allowed in the back room. Like, what are they selling in there? So anyway, how was your weekend?
Man, it was showing up here today with you know how the show started and
Hold on,
and,
stop.
and it was just
This particular line.
sense of pride.
All I can think of is the band Sexual Chocolate. And Eddie Murphy, when he comes to the stage and he's singing this song. I believe the children are the future.
That's funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I told you this
that
is
was
kind of...
well worth being interrupted for because that was a great.
How was your weekend?
Man, it was nonstop. You know, it was funny when I showed up here this morning because we all had those moments where we're just off-centered, and obviously, clearly, you were off-centered. I'm laughing, and you're like, I'm just scatterbrained. I'm like, I feel you, and you're like, no, I don't think you do. And it's like, well, okay. I just had one of those weekends, a stretch of just like bizarre craziness of like, what is going on? I need to catch up because I've been extremely busy with coaching, with work, and just with life, and just everything. It's just like sometimes you get those days to where it's just like the perfect storm of, let me get my bearings.
Yeah.
Hold on, what is going on? And it all started Friday. I briefly shared with you. I leave. I go to the school, get out of the car, walk down to the field, reach in my pocket. I'm like, oh no, my phone's not on my pocket.
That's where I need a button.
So, oh no. So I run back to the car. I look under the seats. Did it fall? I know I had my phone with me. Maybe I left it at home. So I live 7 minutes from school. No biggie. I drive right back home. Living room, kitchen, bedroom. It's the only 3 rooms I was in. Where's my phone? So I log in. Jessica, hey, I can't find my phone. She said, did someone hack your account? I said, nope, this is me. I'm in the house. I can't find my phone. She said, interesting. the Suggs family word right now. Said I'm phoneless. I'll text you from another phone. I don't have time to look anymore. I got to go. I'm going to be late because it was a road game.
Yeah.
Go back. Go to the game. And I'm working negotiations on deals. Phoneless. And it's driving me crazy. So my head wasn't there in the game. And that kind of set the tone for the whole weekend because I couldn't. You know when you get cold outside and you come inside and you can't get warm for some reason? You try everything. So once I was off-centered, I couldn't adjust. Or like when you're late and you're going really fast and then you do catch up to it, but emotionally you're still like wound up. So that whole emotion just carried over into the weekend. Had a busy weekend, and it was just like, I need to get caught up. I need to let my brain just catch up for a 4-hour window of the stress of, I'm going to disappoint a client. I'm going to let a client down. I'm in the middle of negotiations. I need to respond to these things. This is awful. So on the bus ride back to the school, I'm texting Audrey, say, hey, I'm on the way back. I'll pick you up from your friends at 8:20. Pick her up. She gets her phone out, Life 360. I see your phone. It's on the corner. It's like, interesting. She said, but it keeps going to this house as well. so it's kind of like straddling back and
Yeah.
forth on the corner in this house. So we drive, and it's, I don't know, 100 yards from our house. Stop here, turn right. Our house is there, and it was on this corner. We park, we get out. I see a guy at the end of his driveway. I said, "Did you see a phone in the street?" He said, "I did." Did it make the fall? Because then I realized when I was at school in the first place, I set my phone on top of the car, got my bag out, got the scorebook out, saw another coach, made a couple comments to him. We talked for 2 seconds, and that's not my routine, is to put it there.
Yeah.
My routine is go to the pocket. So I broke my routine, and it all came back to me. So he had it. The phone made it. I showed you the camera. I don't know how much I can zoom in here to.
It looks like a kaleidoscope.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So, but perfect. So when I go to the camera, it's perfectly clear.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
I totally would have thought of a kaleidoscope.
So I went. I said, "What do you like to eat?" He said, "Pizza." And I got him a nice little gift certificate to a place that he likes to eat, and just to say thank you and enjoy pizza for probably a couple of weeks. I don't know, because he saved me a few $100s.
Oh yeah.
So-
Yeah, and stress.
100%.
You know, so it's funny. I mentioned to you before we came on about, like, so Adam Sandler works with Netflix, and he did a stand up, and it was recent. I think it's his most recent stand up Netflix special, and he created this song, and it was kind of like about like going through life and like stuff that you don't forget, right?
Mhm.
So like when you're growing up, like and you're going out and you can first drive, it's like, okay, do I have my keys, right?
Yep.
So, okay, and then he started the song, keys, like every time before he left, keys, and then it was like when he started making money, he was like, okay, I need my wallet. It's like keys, wallet, keys, wallet, keys, wallet, keys. He's like, and then cell phones came out, and it became phone, wallet, keys, and there's some expletives in there.
Yeah.
It's like phone, wallet, keys, phone, wallet, keys, phone, wallet, keys, and then
That's
laptops
funny.
came out. It was like laptop, phone, wallet, keys, laptop, phone, wallet, keys. So like when I leave any place, I sing that song
Yes.
in my head, and I check it just like he was doing. I'm like, back pocket, phone, wallet, keys.
That's
Phone, wallet,
hilarious.
keys, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So
I have the girls programmed from Paige was like 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, before we leave the house, I'm like, girls, and everybody, phone, check, wallet, check, keys, check, and we would leave.
yeah,
And so girls develop routines, develop habits, develop these things in your life because it's going to benefit you later in life. So it's, we all have those little, and they aged out of it because they were little kids then, but every now
Yeah.
and then it's like we'll walk out and get ready to go somewhere, and it's an old joke of, Daddy, phone, check, wallet, check, keys, check, got it. We're good to go.
that's my song every time. When I leave a place,
That's hilarious.
when I leave here today, that'll be the exact, like those things. Like it's now when I hurt my finger because I put my wallet in my right pocket.
Okay.
I forgot my wallet on several occasions
Ah,
because like I had the
That's why
bandage on, and I'm like, and I'd get to a place like, crap, I forgot my wallet. Like how in the world? Like I sing the song, how do I forget my wallet?
yes. That's I'm very robotic when it comes to that. That's why when I got out of the car and I'd go to pocket all the time.
Yeah.
But I was reaching for something. I just set it down. I grabbed something. And that broke my routine, my phone, wallet, keys routine.
Yeah.
Just that little bit threw me completely off. And it's funny when we're leaving somewhere because I've got my routine. I put everything in the same spots. I'm not obsessive compulsive with it. It's just routine.
Yeah.
As Carrie Combs used to say, there's comfort in routine. I'm not superstitious. It's my system. Getting ready. I'm looking around the house. Jessica's out in the car beeping. I'm looking around the house. Like, where's my wallet? She's like, I picked it up for you. leave it alone.
Well, the worst.
I'm trying to help. I know, honey, sweetie, I love you. More than anything on the planet. Just leave me be.
Yeah, just let my stuff. It's like I have certain like, oh, this is a mess. Or like Nicole clean the garage, right? I'm like, have you seen my whatever? It used to be right here. Oh, I cleaned the garage.
Short circuit.
Okay, where is it? It's like So the phone,
Where's my leaf blower?
or like yesterday, she took my truck. She was volunteering
1998
at the school flower sale, and so she took my truck so she could pass out and deliver flowers. And she left. She had a board meeting last night, and I'm like, we've been so crazy with not being home that like we hardly have any food in the house. So it's like it was kind of a free night. It was like, okay, what do you? It was just Austin and Blake. Like, what do you kids want to eat? They're like, yeah, let's go to Crossroads. I'm like, okay, fine, let's go to Crossroads. And like, I'm getting ready to leave after they're excited about going out, and I'm like, I can't find my keys. Phone, wallet, where are my keys? I'm thinking she had my truck. I'm like, and girls, women, they have these purses and giant bags, and they just throw stuff in it. I'm like,
Jess, where's your keys? Just take the whole purse.
just yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. Like I'm
Duffel
thinking, like,
bag,
great,
purse, whatever you want to call it.
she's taking my keys. Like I got to try to figure out which one of these is the backup key. You know, it's like forgot you took my keys with you.
Aren't we all just the same? People were just all the same. We've got to do our commonality show.
Oh,
We've got to make it happen.
hot. Okay, let's see. Top.
So we had a show a while back where Tom was on vacation, Hollywood, Florida, had a conversation with a few people that were from Cincinnati. So we put the connection together that pretty much anywhere you go, there's going to be an Ohio connection no matter where you go in the country. It's amazing. But you get really excited with those conversations because when you're in Florida and you're talking about you're both from Ohio or Cincinnati, you have that something in common. But when you're both in Cincinnati, you just don't talk about commonalities because you're just both here. But, you know, to take those a step further of like East Side, West Side, Skyline, Gold Star, La Rosa's, or The Field, right? You know, we as people, we have so much more in common than we ever care to admit, you know, when it comes to character. So every man on the planet, phone, keys, wallet, phone, keys, wallet, phone, keys, wallet. Every wife on the planet is going to grab one of those and break our routine, sometimes intentionally, probably just to mess with us, but sometimes it's just trying to be helpful. It comes from a good place, but we are so simple-minded creatures that phone, keys, wallet, and that's the end of our thought process. And when one of those are missing, we completely break down and we melt down. And we're like a 4-year-old kid throwing ourselves on the ground like, where's my wallet? We're kicking us in circles and I need my wallet. I need my wallet. I got it in the car. I'm trying to help you. Well, you made my whole day. You ruined it. So that's how simple-minded men are, in case you ever wondered.
Just leave well enough alone.
Really well enough alone.
So we don't play R. Kelly on here.
So we're going to rock chalk?
Rock Chalk. So this is going to go to the number one hip-hop R&B song from 1998.
Who is it?
Alexa, play Brandy and Monica. The Boy Is Mine.
Scam Likely.
As Jessica hears and Nicole hear all of our topics about them losing our stuff, like, that boy is mine.
Synchronicities.
Synchronicities. It's funny about the phones, though. So, you know, we had some folks over to grill out Sunday night, and Austin had some buddies that were with him. And, you know, they're 12. They all have their phones. And it's time for everyone to leave. And everyone's like, okay, where's your phone? Well, the one kid can't find his phone. Never can. It's a good friend of ours. Never can find his phone. He leaves it all over the place, right? Like, literally in basketball, left his mom. Like, we were an hour away. Couldn't find his phone after the basketball game. They looked for it for like an hour. We were all going to go out to lunch or whatever after the game. We got all the way back to Corrigan Township. Like, she's like, no, I'm still here looking for his phone. Finally gave up. Somebody ended up turning the phone in. We got it the next day. So every time I see the kid, I'm like, you got your phone? Where's your phone? So he goes to leave. Can't find his phone. It's all like they're up and down steps. They're looking everywhere. They're calling it, nothing. And can't find it. Eventually find the phone. It was like 20 minutes of looking for the phone. And everybody's like, oh, whatever. It's dark. It's Sunday. People got to work. Long weekend, so you're tired. It's like, so, okay, we're cleaning everything up, and I look at Austin, I'm like, where's your phone? He had no idea where his phone was. I'm like, so we just looked for Colton's phone for 20 minutes. Not once did it ever. So, like, we're looking on Life 360. I'm like, well, it's here. And like Life 360 can be weird sometimes. Like it
put you in the corner of the house. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like this one's like it looks like it's 2 houses down. And like, were you out there playing basketball? Yeah, and he walked out there and I caught it. He's like, found it, got it. It was like 15 minutes. I'm like just leaving it. And that has happened more than a handful of times.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like phone, wallet, keys. If I don't have them, like I feel naked
100%.
without it.
We'll leave and we'll take Jessica's car, and I'm like, I grab my keys. She's like, why, you're not driving? I was like, because if they're not in my pocket, I lose my mind.
Yeah.
Like I just reach down and grab, and it's got to be the same.
Are you also afraid of locking your keys in your car?
Not anymore.
I'm deathly afraid of that.
Not with like the push start,
So-
it won't let you. So I have done
Yes,
it in
which
the
is a
past.
nice.
Yeah.
Nicole's car has that.
Okay,
My truck does not.
gotcha.
So, like, I'll panic.
If I ever had to go back to that,
Yeah,
I would lock my keys in my car constantly.
so I panic entirely because I'll like I told you, phone in the back pocket, wallet right, keys left.
Yep.
So like when I'm going to like a game or I'm going someplace, if I don't have those keys, like I won't even lock the door of the truck until I feel them in my left pocket.
Yep.
Like, or if I put them in a bag, like I make sure like as I'm locking the door, I am looking at the keys, or I just use the key fob to lock it.
Yeah.
Like I'm deathly afraid of locking my keys in the car. Like ever since that song has been you got to like phone, wallet, keys, and then he even puts like phone, wallet, mother, keys.
So leaving a house after a showing,
yeah,
I'll walk out and I'll stand in the threshold of the doorway, and it's like I slam the brakes and I grab, and then I walk out and I'll lock the lockbox, put everything back, because everything's Bluetooth through our phones. So it's like sometimes you get the phone out and you're answering questions, and you walk out. Okay, I am safe to lock this house up. I just right there. I just slam, grab. I've got everything.
Well, the
Let's
great
lock
thing,
it up.
like I've got an Apple Watch, and that'll suffice in certain points, right? Like
Yeah.
at certain times, like minimal conversation, whatever. Had to use it kind of over the weekend, you know. Other than that, weekend good, softball.
Yeah, we great game yesterday for the girls. Paige had a great weekend. She continues to tear it up, man. I'm so happy for her. Lead second in the A10 and on base percentage. Top 10 in hitting, top 10 in runs scored. So she's having a phenomenal year. Grace had a competition, WGI Winter Guard International. So it's the percussion ensemble. It was up in Dayton. It's the huge international tournament. They finished fourth. So her and the West Claremont percussion ensemble. Props to you guys. Kudos to you guys. It's so neat to see and go to the shows and see, because West Claremont is only 5 years old, so they're still developing. And to see them get on a international stage and compete the way they do, it's phenomenal. So we made a few trips up to Dayton, Jessica and I, because we helped cater some of the food to the team, and proud of them and their efforts and their work to come in where they did and to continue to grow that program. I was talking to the band director, and with COVID hitting, it's really made an adjustment in the oncoming freshmen, just about everything. So for softball, we had 3 kids come out as freshmen, and it's like there's just a curve. I was talking to him about, what's it like on your side. He's like, man, numbers are really low, but there are 200 sixth graders that signed up for band. I'm like, wow. Some of those kids are going to fall off.
Yeah.
But that's still in the 6th grade. That's a great starting number.
That's a lot of kids.
To let some kids fall off, which happens inevitably when you're starting at 200, and if you land at 60, you're still doing well, versus starting at 60 and landing at 20, right, for a marching band. So the future looks great. Ryan Reed's the percussion director over there, is doing a phenomenal job. So good job, Grace. Good job, percussion ensemble at West Claremont. Audrey had a weekend off, more or less, so that helped.
Yeah.
It's a busy weekend, just going, just trying to keep up with business, and again, off-centered the whole weekend from the step behind and the guilt of hope I didn't mess up anything for anybody. And This weekend, Paige is in Dayton, so we get to go up to Dayton again. Back-to-back weekends, get to hang out with her, watch her play, and we're staying in the hotel up there to spend some extra time with her, so we don't have to make that commute back and forth. School ball was great. We started the year off our first game of the season. We lost a little Miami, 10-11, and it's just one of those games where you look at your roster, you look at their roster, and you're like, no. And not to insult them, I mean, they are a good team. They are built similar to us, but I know we're better than that. I know we're capable of more. And you go back and you tell the girls, like, that wasn't us. We've got to figure something out. So the redemption game was yesterday. We beat them 13-3, which was awesome. So to see the girls grow, to see our pitching come together, just to see everything come together, it's kind of going into the weekend was chaos, but to the satisfaction of yesterday and last night was. So when I woke up this morning and I'm finally collected,
Yeah.
I just passed the torch to you. So
Yes,
you're
it's
welcome.
like the attachment, right?
You hang around with somebody long enough, you start acting like them.
right. Start looking. The dog starts looking like their owner.
Or the owner like the dog.
Yeah, vice versa.
That's why I don't get a dog.
Let's see what we got.
1998. Didn't we just come from 98?
We did.
Let's go back. Rock. Number 9. So how was your weekend?
It was good. So, we started the week before was Nicole and I played co-ed volleyball, sand volleyball.
All right.
Well, the week before was really
Where at?
Knotty Pine.
Okay.
And the week before was really cold, really windy, yucky. Like not beach volleyball weather.
Right.
Right? And so Alexa, play Days of the New, the Downtown.
Downtown by Days of the New on Amazon Music.
So we played. Austin had an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock game at Joyce Park, which is about 25 minutes away from her. No big deal, but still, 8 o'clock in the morning is 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's like you're out. We didn't play volleyball till 10:15. It's like, okay, playing volleyball, we're coming home. Well, that turns into playing volleyball, then we're going to chit-chat with friends, have a couple drinks, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, it's midnight. Okay, so now we got to get up, whatever, super early to be at the park at 7. Get everything. I messed up the AM PM. I set my alarm for 5:30.
Oops.
It was 5:30 PM. Fortunately, she set her alarm for 6, and I heard her alarm. I'm like, man, what the heck? How'd her alarm go off before mine? It's like, oh, the old Seinfeld reference, like with Jean Paul. It's like the AM PM. It was the AM PM. History of Seinfeld. Fantastic episode. I'm like, man, I never messed up the AM PM. All right. So we get there, we go play well, we win, right? And games get over about noon. In the meantime, Carson had 2 games on Saturday. So the first one was at 10 against Fairfield at home. And then Saturday at 3, both him and Blake had games. So Austin ends at noon. Carson's game gets over at the high school about the same time. Well, we just won a couple of games, and you know how teams are. Like, hey, let's go get lunch, whatever. And so most of the team, like, we go out, we get lunch. Nicole meets us over there and have lunch, have a couple drinks, and then I was going to go off to Xavier University. Coleraine was playing Anderson, and then she was going to go to Blake's game. So I was looking forward to this particular day. Like, so much. One, there was a chance Carson was going to pitch in one of those games, but he ends up throwing in the first game. There was a chance he was going to pitch in the second, and I was going to see the second. So I was really excited about it for multiple reasons. On top of that, Blake's first game of the year, and it was really cool to watch, like, these 12-year-old kids, and he's in the dugout, and he's chasing foul balls, and they're asking him questions, and, like, they just really took to him. And, well, of course, Blake goes, hey, I got a game at 3 o'clock at Hobner. You guys want to come to it? And, like, 6 or 7 of the kids after lunch and their parents, they all went to Hobner. He was playing on the big field.
That's awesome.
And they watched his game, and they were rooting him on, and he just got, like, like the biggest kick out of it, and
Yeah.
it was so cool.
And he's such a great kid anyway. Like, he's just
Yeah.
great personality that I could easily see.
You know, they wear the sliding pads.
How can you not encourage that kid?
So he got a sliding pad
Yeah.
for Easter. So like he watched other kids like throw their gloves and whatever, like after they get a hit. So he's doing everything that these big kids are doing, you know. Yeah.
watching
like-
Sean Casey.
Yeah, he's just emulating them. So they got a kick out of it. They treated him really special. It was so. I wasn't there to see it, but then after Carson's game, I met up with them, and everybody was just. He was on cloud 9, and being 7 years old and getting that type of treatment was amazing.
Right.
Right. And so I was really looking forward to go. It was, I guess you can call it a showcase game or whatever. It was a special game. Coleraine is playing Anderson at Xavier University.
Okay.
So Carson ended up pitching in relief in the first game, so he wasn't going to start pitching, but he plays first base for him. And we talked about Cream rising to the top and how he
Yeah.
found his niche or whatever, and has kind of worked his way into kind of being a bigger part of whatever it is that they're doing. And so, you know, he's been hitting. The team's kind of struggling a little bit at the plate. He's been hitting fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went from batting 6 to now we show up at Xavier. He's playing first base, and I was really looking forward to for one main reason. So Chris Newton, you know Chris,
Yeah.
Coach Newton, was
AD at Anderson.
yeah, he was
Absolutely incredible dude.
one of the best guys on the planet.
Yeah.
So he, you know, history, if you don't know, he was a football coach and JV baseball coach when we were at Coleraine. One of the summers, he took a summer team on. I happened to be on that summer team. It was a just amazing experience, and the memories that I have of what he taught me, like about like he was, other than my dad, this was my first real experience of like actual baseball IQ,
All right.
different things, you know, like different techniques, different ways to do things, because he was young and he had done all this before,
Yeah.
you know. And so I texted him earlier in the week and said, hey, I see Coleraine and Anderson at Xavier. By chance, are you going to be there? And he texted me back. He said, hey, I'm doing everything I can to get there. He said, he's an AD parent, like multiple hats that he's wearing too, just
Yeah.
like all of us. And he's like, I'm going to try to get there. So like we go to lunch, whatever, and I'm like, the game's supposed to start at 3, and like the lady doesn't bring our check right away. So I'm like, crap, like I'm going to be late, you know. My mom and dad were going to the game down there. So like I parked at UC to get to the game at Xavier. That's how far away I parked.
Right.
It's like I'm walking, I'm hustling, and I get there, and like my parents are sitting like up in the stands behind home plate, and I walk up and like, oh, Newton was here. He was looking for you. I'm like, oh yeah, I was texting back and forth, and so I was kind of I'm waiting for him. He had went into Anderson's dugout, so I'm kind of watching, waiting for him to come out, and then he comes out, and I'm walking down, and like it was just so cool, like and special, because I hadn't seen him in so long.
This is so cool.
But the memories that I have of him and what he meant to me
Yeah.
was like,
Immeasurable.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And so like we're standing there, we're behind home plate, and the game's going on, and it like the dude looks exactly the same. I'm grayer than he is, you know, and like it's the same attitude.
He reversed an
Yeah,
agency.
and it's like,
he got here and stayed, and it's like, wait.
well, he
wait,
walked
wait,
up
wait.
to my parents first and like said hi and gave them a hug and everything like that, and then you know we start talking, and it was like going back to me being like 16 again, you
Yep.
know, and we're holding these conversations and we're talking about, hey, have you seen this guy lately? Have you talked to him? Blah 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 blah, and we're laughing, and then you know I told him like I was hoping he would, like after the game I could kind of introduce Carson to him, whatever. But,
Yeah.
you know, obviously he's extremely busy too.
Sure.
And so, like, we're standing behind home plate. Well, Carson got moved up to cleanup, and I'm like, oh, look, this is cool.
Alright.
But they're throwing a pretty good dude out there, and Carson's up. He's like, hey, watch your boy. So like, he stopped everything, and we're just sitting there watching.
See, yeah, that's
And like, Carson rips a single into right center, and he's like, oh, all right. Like, I was telling him, you know, basically dad speak, like kind of what's going on with my life. I, you know, between what you and I are doing, because you know him too, and then like how I've got a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old, and Carson's out there. Like, you know, I was at 2 base. I'm dressed in my coaching gear. I'm like, I had 2 baseball games this morning. My wife's at one right now. We have all this stuff going on. I was like, and then about this time last year, someone talked her into running for school board, and she won. And he goes, is she crazy?
She married me, right?
I'm like, and the whole conversation we just had was so awesome, just unique, and I just miss seeing the guy around.
Yeah,
so
and
much.
it's neat how a coach from that age, that time of your life, mid-teens to now that 40, your posture changes when you're around them because you still owe them the respect from 25 years ago. It's like, oh, you're Coach Newton. Like, you just kind of change, and it goes to, not that you were in character, but you feel the need to say, hey, Coach, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Like, let me brag to you about my life because you're an influence in my life,
Right.
and my life is going well, and I just want you to know.
Yeah, you know what?
Because
I had that exact same thing you're going for, that internal fight of like, I didn't want to make the conversation about me.
But you know what? Do it, man. Because, like, he deserves to know where you're at in life because he's part of that influence.
Right.
And it's like, thanks to you, Coach, and your influence on my life, because your whole life is a collection of this and that and that and this, right? And he's a part of that. So he deserves to know that, hey, life's going good, man. Thank you.
Right. Exactly.
Because you're an influence in my life.
And so, driving home, whatever, later on or driving the next day, and I got a text from him, and it was how awesome it was, like, to catch up, to see me.
So glad you're doing well.
And, like, I followed that up with pretty much exactly what you just said. Like, how many memories, like, I have so many memories of stuff that you taught me and just being around you and just your influence on everything. And
I coach kids today, and I say, a coach once taught me this.
Right.
And it's you.
And it's the things that he did, the things that he said, even just not even coaching, and just the memories that we had and the good times, whether we were goofy 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, whatever, didn't matter.
Yeah.
And
Boys are dumb.
And yeah, and it's like we're talking about that type of stuff, and it's like, his response was, I'm so happy that your life is so full. Right? And it was perfect.
See? Yeah, 100%.
And I'm like, yeah, you get it, like, but you don't understand how much I circled that game when the schedule came out.
Yeah.
And made a point to tell him, like, if you can make it, that would be awesome, because I am really looking forward to just saying hi.
Yeah, and to relive when I ran into him at the pool with Audrey's swim team, just to see him the way he is as an athletic director. Every kid that walked by, he was involved with them. He had comments to say, so he knew them more than just face value,
right?
Because of the intimacy of, just, hey, did you bring the cupcakes? Hey, next week, I saw that you did that, and it's just like his knowledge of who they are and where they are in life. It's incredible, and it's no accident that 25 years later, that's the impact you left. Right. So all of those kids that are coming through the pipeline, he's incredible, man. He is an incredible dude.
He is. He's amazing. The stuff that he's done's amazing, and just a good, just a good person.
So coaches out there, youth coaches, that's your job.
That's my bar.
What we just explained, that's your job. I told the girls, I said, if we win or lose this Tuesday, that's okay. What's more important to me is in 20 years you come back to me and we can carry on the conversation.
Right.
I care more about that conversation 20 years from now than I do today.
Right.
But let's go out and win this game today.
Yeah. You might suck today,
but you can be awesome in 20 years. You could be a great parent.
This will be a blip on your radar on how bad you played today.
Right. So he set the stand. You're right. He set the bar. He set the standard. And coaches, that is our job. Is exactly what you just the portrait you just painted. That's
it's
awesome.
That influence, right?
Yep.
And so it was just great seeing him. Sunday, Sunday we come back and we got put into. It was kind of cool how they did it, and I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to some of these tournaments. There was 27 teams in this tournament, and they did a bronze level, which was the bottom 4. I think they played like in a 4-team little round robin for a ring. You can hold the discussion on trophies and rings for another day, but for a ring. And then they had a silver, which was like 8 teams above them,
Mm-hmm.
Then they had a gold, which was 8 teams above them, and then they had a platinum, which were the top 8 teams. We happened to be in the top 8 teams. This is a new team, so we're playing against teams that have been together for a little while. So we're trying to cram a bunch of information into these 12-year-old kids, and see how they react and learn. And we had 2 bad innings, but we played a really, really good team that belongs in that upper level.
Mm-hmm.
And we left it all out there again at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was the same kind of deal. Saturday night, we're out. And it's like we're at a 21st birthday party. We get home at 1 o'clock. It's like, I got to be up in 4 hours.
In 15 minutes.
And which is also funny, too, because
94, we got a new year.
we're talking about
Hip-hop.
getting up and
Number 6.
being able to still keep your responsibilities, right? Like, I understood what the ramifications were for me staying out late, and what it was going to be like.
Tomorrow's going to suck.
So
but tonight's going to be epic.
Side note, so Carson works on Sundays, and they had him working. He got home, I think, around 10:30, and he gets up in the morning, and I told you I don't know where Elias is going to go because Elias is just coming to my head now. Nicole gets up pretty early. She'll go in. She'll work out. And he comes down Saturday. It was hot on the weekend. He comes down Saturday, I don't know, whatever time it was that we were home. He goes, man, we got to do something about this air conditioning. It's so hot in here. This was Sunday we got home. I'm like, what do you mean? Turn it on? It's not on. That's why it's hot. We hadn't got to the point yet.
We turned ours on.
We just weren't home to do it. So
Sure,
it was I'd rather just let it.
Turned it on just to turn it back off last night.
Right, and it was whatever. And so Sunday night comes, it's so hot, and I didn't know this, but instead of staying in his room, she comes down here, and he's laying down here on the couch, asleep, Sunday into Monday. Okay. And so he kind of freaks her out, and he says, Alexa, play Time's Up by OC. He makes a comment, can I go in late to school today? Apparently their game was going to be canceled or whatever. He's like, can I go late to school today? I am just really tired. So it's I'm like, no, whatever you did previous, you still have to get up and hold whatever responsibility it is that you have. Now, you went to bed at 10:30. If you didn't go to sleep right away, if you hung out on your phone or playing video games late, and now you're tired, those are the ramifications of your actions.
Yes.
Right? And so, no, you get up and you're going to go to school at the regular time. I'm not the type of parent that's going to be
heard a guy say, you want to stay up with the Owls, you better be ready to soar like the Eagles.
Yeah, you got to do.
Yeah.
You have to understand this. Whatever it is that you're doing, there's going to be a reaction to it. So anyway, find out that he fell asleep in one of his classes and got a detention.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now the kid's never in trouble. This is the first time, right? And I'm sitting here. I'm like, told you so.
And he's like, I told you so.
Right.
Told you I was tired.
You got to prepare yourself
For the unprepared.
For the unprepared, right? And so, needless to say, we never turned the AC on. He gets a detention. We'll see how that kind of plays out. And then talking about, another point that you brought up, you guys were responsible for the food.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a funny story about that. So last week, Blake comes home, and Nicole tells Blake, she goes, well, can you ask your teacher when would be a good day I'd like to buy the class pizza? Blake goes in, tells his teacher. Teacher responds, Blake says you want to buy pizza for the first grade. When would you like to do that? So at that point, it's you can't really say no. You're not going to go well, I said.
Not the class of 20, the first
Correct.
grade.
Yeah, just Blake's class, the 20 or whatever kids that are in that class get pizza. She looks at me, she goes, well, it looks like you're going to be sponsoring an elementary school pizza party. I'm like, you better get your buddy card out, and, or get a Little Caesars and
Hot and ready, baby.
not ready. And 2 for Tuesday, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's like that bad game of telephone. You tell a first grader, and he turns it into, oh, my mom's buying pizza for everybody.
My dad wants to buy pizza for the whole district.
Yeah. Like,
No, your classroom.
right. Where he can go with stuff is just hilarious. Like, even just, he invited the team to his game.
Did you give him the receipt? Like, it's an IOU, buddy.
Yeah.
When you get older and get a job, you're paying me back.
It's an IOU. It's as good as cash. It's just funny. Like, we're like, the 7-year-old Braden. Like, I'm sitting there listening. I'm in the dugout. I listen to him tell these kids, like, yeah, I play at Hodner. And then they're all like, they're asking their parents, can we go watch Blake? Can we go watch Blake? And then he's telling them, like, well, I got flag. Like, he's like, I got flag football tomorrow. And then they're like, can we go to Blake's flag football? I'm like, Blake, stop. People don't need to, like,
He's a politician, man.
that's it.
Embrace it, Blake.
He is
Keep
the
that
man.
following, buddy.
So anyway,
That's where Nicole gets it from, huh? Running for school board,
so we
being all political. She learned it from Blake.
yes, he's moving his way up the ladder. So that was kind of Tom's yesterday. So we lose the game on Sunday, and then again, you're never home, so like your house is kind of in disarray.
Yeah.
My grass hadn't been. You talked about a few weeks ago the peer pressure of cutting grass. Like I cut my grass once. I was very lazy with it, and even like cut it over twice, but not completely.
Right.
And so like I get home and she left the game and she went to teach Sunday school. So she's like, hey, I invited so and so to come over and grill out later. I'm like, and she's like, well, she says, can you, if you're not doing anything, can you clean the house or cut the grass? And I'm thinking, and I was already in that process, and I had some work stuff that I needed to do that it ended up taking a lot longer than I thought. And then she texts me again. She says, hey, I invited so-and-so over to grill out later. I'm like,
And
so,
I volunteered you to.
and I'm like, well, you kind of made the decision for me at that point because I know the grass needs to be cut, and I'm trying to talk myself out of cutting the grass because I wanted to be able to answer the phone. And I'm like, well, looks like I got to cut the grass. So I go out there, and again, mind you, I got like 4 hours of sleep. So and
Right.
I've got a big hill in the backyard, and I'm cutting the grass, and I cut it through the first time. Like, it's super long. I'm talking 6 inches. Like I had it on the highest setting. Like I'd cut a swath, and it's this long in spots, and not just spots, like pretty much throughout the entire thing.
Right.
And that's just a week, 10 days without cutting it. And so I'm like going through, and I get through, and like you have to stop and back up, and it's like all I've got now is just freaking shredded grass all over the place. So I ended up cutting it twice, but I had to stop like 3 times, drink a Gatorade, like take a deep breath. I'm like, because I was cutting it uphill on purpose so that like when I went downhill, I wouldn't have to stop it. Like the mower would be moving fast enough to cut grass, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna have to go through this twice. So I ended up taking like 2 hours to cut the son of a gun twice.
Wow. How long did it normally take you? Like, I don't know, like 35 minutes?
To trim everything, and everything's maybe an hour.
Okay. Country number 9.
I was
George Strait.
I don't want to say winded. I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, but that was
Yeah.
like, it was like, man, like I need a break.
I walked out of the house this morning and looked at my grass, like, oh, already? This is a tough time of year. Spring is so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we got a little over an acre, and it's just like, oh. So it's something you do have to, kind of like you, it's like, all right, I know this is going to be time.
Yeah.
I got to carve out time for it. I got to make it important. I got to make it part of my plans, make it part of my day, because it is going to take time. And when I've got so many other things to do, so it's keeping up with the grass and landscaping. Yeah, our landscaping sucks in the spring, and we don't even care.
That's how we are.
Yeah,
It's like
we'll buy mulch at the end of spring. Just
we're mulching at the wrong time,
right?
and yeah, it's taking a little while to load here. But yeah, so I cut it. They came over. It was a great time after that. Like we're sitting outside. The weather was nice. It felt good to kind of get into that again and kind of have that spring weather, spring whatever. That's a good one here. Speaking of spring, Alexa, play "Strawberry Wine" by Dina Carter.
Awesome song, fantastic song.
Casey counts them down. American Top 40
Wine,
Country.
7.
So,
She was thinking of me when she wrote the song.
That was kind of my
17.
weekend. kind of recent news. We talked a little bit last week. The Twitter thing, and Elon Musk was going to buy Twitter, and there was a lot of backlash, like in terms of like what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Are they going to take his offer? Well, apparently they're taking his offer.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Like last night or yesterday in the middle of the day, it's looking at Twitter and it's just like the hate, the inconsistencies of both political sides. I don't know how the ownership of Twitter became political. I don't know how COVID became political. I don't know how masks become political. I don't understand how anything becomes. We just feel the need to hate.
Yep.
Something, somewhere, somehow, some way or another, except taking responsibility for ourselves in the way we conduct ourselves in an everyday life. And it's to see everyone spewing on Twitter about how frustrated they are that it's under new ownership. That you are not removed from that platform.
Right.
Continue to do what you do. Nothing changed in your life. If you lose sleep over who owns Twitter, evaluate your life on a whole nother level, because
Right.
you've got other issues that just don't line up. I don't care who owns Twitter.
Right.
I don't care who gets deleted from Twitter. It affects me and my relationships absolutely zero. And but man, the excitement from certain people, as if they never had freedom in their life.
Right.
It's like, are you guys really that excited to have nothing change in your life? And then are you guys really that angry to have nothing change in your life?
Well, in the hypocrisy of the whole thing. It was cool.
100%.
It was cool before.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Twitter was
love
great.
Twitter.
You guys don't get to talk on here.
Yeah.
I love Twitter.
On the right side, we're starting our own.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Still don't get to talk on here, but the left, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, now somebody kind of from the right side, I think. I don't know Elon Musk from anybody. I'm assuming all the outrage and everything is saying he's kind of on the right side. Like, buys it and like, oh, no. You're going to let these people back in? Yeah. You guys are gone now.
I think the best tweet that I saw was Twitter employees leave in a rage as they drive home in their Teslas.
Right. Right. Thank you. You got yourself fired.
Thanks for the car, but wait a second.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, man. It's yeah. So you to compete with the Joneses in society driving your Tesla to pat yourself on the back. Well, that's the same guy you're supporting to hate because he's allowing people to have freedom.
Yeah. Now he's your boss.
Now he's your boss.
So
the guy's car you own is your boss.
Yeah.
Sorry that life is so poetic that way.
Right.
Yeah, it's. We'll see. We'll give it time, like everything. What do they say in the NFL draft? You know how good they are in 3 years. I don't know if Twitter. I think Twitter moves significantly faster than that, but we'll see in 3 to 6 months who's back on the Twitter platform, who they go back in, who they evaluate, who gets their freedom of speeches back on that platform, and how they're going to influence people. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. We shall see. I'm interested to see, but I am glad that there's. So last week we talked about the market.
Yeah.
The market always sets the bar. Always does. Capitalism wins, and the market always dictates the terms. When there's a shift that goes too far one way, the market demands adjustment. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk is that adjustment, right? So we're going to see the adjustment, and then the market's going to shift back another way.
Right.
There's a strong chance it's going to probably shift too far that way, but the market will demand that it comes back. The problem is society is the pendulum, and we keep doing this. Too far left, too far right. Too far left, if we could just stop that pendulum and keep it in the middle, which it's safe to say will never happen because it's never happened in the history of mankind, so it's not going to happen today or tomorrow or ever. But it's good to see him play that role because he's going to adjust the pendulum back, and in that adjustment, we're going to find a little happy spot in the middle for temporary.
Right.
And it's like,
Well,
shift to go right.
It's funny because I was watching the news before you came, and they were talking about like how this could influence the midterm elections, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the hypocrisy in that is just beyond me. Like,
Correct.
We weren't saying that. You were denying that it could happen before. Oh no, it didn't have anything to do with it. Oh, didn't have anything to do with it. Nothing. Votes were counted. Votes Okay, fine. You can't just take that pendulum and swing back the other way when it doesn't go your way. Like it drives me crazy.
Yes.
Like it's that accountability, whatever you want to call it. Like it's just funny to me. We talk about life is funny.
It is.
Life is funny. Karma's a bitch. Honestly, there's a lot to that. Speaking of life is funny and karma, the Reds finally won.
Woo! The worst team in baseball. You know what? They won opening day, which is a huge day here, and they beat the Cardinals. Drop the mic. Call it a day. Call it a season.
I think they did.
3-13. They were ahead of us. They did it before the season started. Like, we're going to win opening day and we're going to beat the Cardinals once. What else do we need to do in a season?
Well, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and Phil Castellini, he came out and opening day and was excited and kind of said some things, wrong things to say in Cincinnati when you have a team that sucks, not very good, and so he's apologized several times. And I talked to a guy over the weekend. His wife works in the ticket office, whereas like Phil Castellini came in there and apologized basically like to them, like saying the stress and everything that he's kind of caused, his words have kind of caused them.
Yeah.
And it's like you think about the team and you think about like management and you think about the people, the actual players, but it is a business and there are other people that are involved in that business running. Like their marketing department, like their social media group, like their I don't even know I guess it would be part of marketing, but like when the Castellinis bought it and they went from the Linders, who really didn't do a whole lot in terms of like the social media, and as social media kind of came up, like the Reds were on the front of everything. Like they do a tremendous job. Like the stadium, the stuff that they have in the stadium is just obnoxiously good.
Yeah.
From the fan experience, if you go to a Reds game, is great. The team hasn't been all that great, but you saw like the last 2 years when they were solid, like the city will get behind a winner. And
100%.
like there are other people inside the business of the Reds that get affected by that type of thing. The marketing department, the publicists, the things that go on kind of behind the scenes that have nothing to do with baseball and nothing to do with baseball economics, that they feel the brunt of it because...
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Kerry Combs, when he came back to UC, and one of the interview that he had, he said, a championship organization is everyone involved in that organization. It's everybody from the custodians that clean up to the field guys to the marketing crew. It's everyone in that organization needs to buy into winning. Everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Collecting trash, cutting grass, head coach, kicker, reserve, starter. It doesn't matter. Photographers, everyone needs to buy into a certain tempo of life and a mentality. And then when you have, the Reds going through what they're going through, it's, when you're the owner and you're creating division and your marketing crew is not bought into winning, they're not going to take passion in what they do, and they're not going to take passion in branding you, and you're going to feel the lack of love in the marketing, and it's going to affect your odds of winning.
Right.
Like, that's just not a good environment because the marketing crew said it's not.
Right.
What about the players? Haven't even got to them yet.
Yeah.
So Kerry Combs, he's right. It takes every single person that touches
the ball, and we go back to like the original conversation, just kind of about ethics and just in general. Like, he doesn't say that, the Reds are still bad, right? And still is going to probably still affect ticket sales. But what you did was you angered a fan base that wasn't necessarily angry. They just they were
yes.
They were what's the word I'm looking for?
Disappointed, upset, let down.
But what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's just, I guess, disinterested.
Yeah, great word. Great
more
word.
so than anything else is like, okay, like the years past, the team was at least interesting. Now, they're not that interesting.
Yeah, it's clicking through your TV stations like, what did he just say?
Yeah, right.
I wasn't even interested. Now he pissed me off.
Correct. and here's a drive into left field. Right? It's like,
Yeah.
But so they won. Congratulations on your
third win.
on your third win. You know, picked up a half game yesterday by not losing. You know, they didn't play yesterday, so that helps.
So that's a game and a half over 2 days.
Yeah. Hey, on a roll.
Yeah.
It's like the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians, whatever, from Major League. You know, just got to win them all.
Yep.
So, big week this week. I got my Boomer Esiason jersey. We know the Bengals right now rule all. The NFL owns everything. The NFL owns owns your time, owns the world. Right?
Yes. Well said.
And so they have the draft. The first round of the draft is Thursday night. And for me as a Bengals fan, it's weird. Like, you know, they've drafted a lot at the top of the draft to where it's like, okay, when they moved it to Thursday night, it's like, I'm going to stay up until the Bengals pick, and then I'll go to sleep.
Correct.
Now they're picking 31st. Like, that's a long night.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be like if it started at 7:30, okay, the Bengals would be picking by 8:30.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, last year they had the fourth pick, and you knew Burrow was going to be pretty good, and it's like, there's excitement there. You're going to get this top 10 player. You're excited about it. And I'm torn because I want to be excited about the draft, but in the same sense, it's like, ho-hum, they're 31.
Now, this is when our scouting department gets put to work. And
Yeah.
you just think, I have never thought about it until like just this very second. But when you think of the Patriots, who've been so good for so long, and you think of like the Ravens and the Steelers, who are in our conference, that have been extremely competitive and really good for a really, really long time, and they don't get those top 10 picks. You know, it's easy to get that top 10 athlete in the draft with your recruiting department, but when you're picking 31st, it's like, hold on, we really have to have a strategy here, because who we want might not be here at 31, so we can't, and which is going to get into our unsung hero,
Right.
But we have to go another mile of looking at plan B, C, D, because that might be who's available at 31. And if we want to plug this hole, if that hole's not there, we've also got, not only do we go to another player, but we might have to change positions, because if these two guys aren't available, then we're going to have to go get the best available over here. And that's to draft that late in the first round. Yes, you're still getting one of the top 32 players in college football, which they are an elite human being. But it's different than just, hey, it's Joe Burrow.
It's not as sexy.
It's Joe Burrow.
It's
Jamar
not as
Chase.
sexy as a
Like
Jamar.
how good
I
is your
said
scouting
Jamar
part?
Burrow. Can you imagine how good that athlete
And
would be?
Joe Chase.
Yeah.
Joe Chase and Jamar Burrow. Burrow cigarette. How good of a scouting department do you have to draft a top 10 guy?
So there's a couple of things. Yeah, you could go on media alone.
Yeah.
Any idiot could go.
Follow
go top
Twitter
10.
trending, Joe Burrow.
Who's
That's our
he said?
pick.
Yep, that's him.
31st pick in the draft. Oh, nobody's trending now.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things on that, and there's a couple of things I think that play into it. One, knock on wood, the Bengals have been pretty good managing their cap.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's going to be tested in the next few years because Burrow's going to get paid. Jamar Chase is going to get paid. T. Higgins is going to get paid. Like, those guys are going to make a boatload of money.
Yep.
And that's going to change your cap. So you have to get creative with that type of stuff. And the reason I bring that up is because there's a giant difference between picking, let's just say, 32nd, which is the Super Bowl champion, right, usually, or 31st, and you're looking at it and you go, okay, guys that are drafted in the first round, their contract numbers are pretty much already there.
Yeah.
Like, it's long gone are the days of an Achilles Smith holdout because he thinks he's worth more money, right? The numbers in the contract are pretty much set in stone.
Good job, NFL.
Yeah. And so, but the difference between that 32nd and that 33rd pick, which is the first pick of the second round, there is a team option for a fifth year for everybody drafted in the first round. So the second round, yes, you still have 4 years. That fifth year on that fifth year option becomes guaranteed money if the team picks it up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a guy, if you trade out of that pick, you lose that fifth year on somebody that you could have gotten that's a good player. You follow me on
Yeah.
that? Like, so instead of trading out of the pick, is it worth it more to them to get the best player available short of a kicker or quarterback, and you get that 5th-year option. I don't care if it's a receiver. I know we got good receivers, but again, you're talking about cap space and building for the future as well as maintaining.
Right.
If the best player out there is a receiver, receivers get hurt. You plug in another first-round receiver? I mean, I'm not advocating for that, but I'm not anti either.
Sure.
You get a lineman, another lineman. Say he's pretty good. You pick up that 5th-year option without having to deal with him going elsewhere.
Yep.
It could be a big deal.
That is another interesting strategy of the draft. And building for long term, which you got to tip your hat to the teams that stay good for so long because they have a draft committee, a scouting department that, guys, we have to factor all this stuff in. If we're trying to be good for playing the long game,
right?
We gotta make a decision like that.
So, fortunately, the Bengals' 2nd-round picks, they've nailed a lot of their 2nd through 5th, even some beyond. Mm-hmm. And that's going back. We'll just go back to like 2000. Like
and the Browns might not be great winners, but they are great business people,
right?
Because they've made a ton of money off the Bengals with putting mediocre product on the field for a long time.
Well, but also too, on top of that is the main guy there, Mike Brown. Like, yeah, I'm sure he still has a voice in the room, but the people that are calling the shots, they're younger. And you want to talk about like look at their social media, look at their marketing department before this year even started. Mm-hmm. Like, they're out there pumping and pimping the new uniforms. They're out there and they're trolling people, and it was funny. It was funny to watch them. And like, they had the whole Mike Cart. You remember the Mike Cart thing? Like, it was just interesting, and it was kept everything fresh and fun before they even knew that they were going to be in the Super Bowl. Right. And so, like, that attitude kind of goes away and goes against what everybody's always kind of said. Oh, Mike Brown.
You're right.
It's not him anymore.
You're 100% right.
Like, you've got yes, he still has a voice. Yes, it's still his family. However, they are doing things in a fresher,
keeping up with the times.
Correct.
Yep.
Whereas if you'd have told me 2 years ago that the Reds would be in hot water and the Bengals are coming off the Super Bowl,
and the Bengals would be charismatic.
Yeah, and the Bengals are the ones that are new and hip and everything else, and the Reds are like just old curmudgeon and just bitter. It's like, oh, I would never have seen that coming. But
what a difference a year makes, because last year at this time the Reds were like the most exciting team in baseball, flamboyant, loud, boisterous, egos, chips, and this year it's like,
disinterested.
100%.
Whereas
great word.
The NFL always wins. Is where now. This used to be one of my favorite days. It still is draft day. When it was on Sunday, we'd have a party for draft day. And it's like, oh, and you're making fun of the other teams. And it's like, I love the draft. I love when the Eagles pick whoever.
Donovan McNabb, boo! And he's
like,
going
it
to
doesn't
the Hall
matter
of
who they
Fame.
pick. It doesn't matter who they pick at all. The Eagles fans hate them, right? And the Cowboys are just the opposite. Like, it doesn't matter who they pick. The Cowboys fans love
We
them.
boo our draft picks and throw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yes. Correct.
Brotherly love, baby.
So
tough love.
I'm really interested to see, that's kind of that borderline end of first round, 2nd round pick. So if they nail their 2nd round picks, which means they do their homework on those guys, and obviously it's going to depend on who's available, I would think that I'm pretty confident that they'll do a good job getting a player that will work.
Mm-hmm.
And that excites me being at 31, because it's not like if you draft number 1, you've got the entire board, right? So you've got the entire board to basically screw it up.
So many to choose from,
right? And it's like, okay, well, you might have on your board, you might have 50 guys that are potential first rounders, and then it gets to you, and that list ultimately, by the time you're 31, gets cut down to 19.
Yep.
And so, if they have the ability, which I think they do now, to pick the best player available, it should be exciting.
Yeah.
It should be exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. Now's the time where we had talked about this before. The unsung hero. You have a good one.
Yes, the unsung heroes. Watching the draft, and you're getting into the later rounds of what they have prepared to highlight a kid from like a Wyoming or a North Dakota State or these small schools, mid-major school programs, And as soon as their name's announced, instant highlight reel of that guy.
They've already talked to their coach, their high school coach,
Yes.
their kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. You know, I went back and I talked to his high school coach, and here's what he said about him as a freshman in high school. It's like, I never even heard of the school.
What type
Not
of-
the guy.
What type of Dewey Decimal System do the people like that are working on the set go to? Like, who'd they pick? Justin Smith.
That ring was for Dewey Decimal System.
And you go, and the guy looks through, is like, okay, I got to get to the S's. Like, I wrote notes. Oh, Smith.
S 2.14.
Like,
S
okay,
2.14.
Smith.
Highlight reel. Go.
Yeah. Here's what I talked to the lady that served him sloppy joes in the cafeteria. She said he always tipped well. He always hustled through the line and always made sure his plate was clean. One heck of a guy that guy is. Like, and it's on the fly. It's like
The prep that those guys have for everyone drafted is absolutely mind-numbing. So whoever's in charge of that,
so. Yeah.
props to you.
So let's go here. Can you imagine the intern that's working on that? And I come to and it's me and I come to the intern and I go, hey, can you give me information on Justin Smith out of Jackson State, Peoria, Junior College
Yeah.
in Lafayette, Louisiana? Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get right on that. Like,
I want stats on every college player.
yeah, it's the
Senior, every college player.
the amount of teamwork.
This year, every college
Every
player ever. You know, this guy really reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, but back at San Diego State Community College, there was a, you know, he plays a lot like him. Who?
Do you guys remember when Bobby Boucher? Like,
That was cool.
it's got, yeah. So that person that gathers that information on the hidden gem that somebody's going to find.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr.
Has a
Irrelevant.
highlight reel.
I don't know. I would say that you're probably
They intentionally unhighlight reel him.
well, but they probably have a better idea of who is going to be or who has a chance of being Mr. Irrelevant just as well as they have the idea of who's going to be going first. It's the person that's in the 6th round, you know, that just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The punter, you know, the
So who has the last pick in the draft, and what's their least need?
yeah. I mean, I don't. I would think it would. Let's just say it's the Rams.
Yeah.
Their least need, I would probably say. Would you say defensive? I mean, defensive tackles go that late all the time.
Yeah.
So that's, again, look at us just going through it, and we're fans, and we're like, oh. Like, you even look at, like, let's just say it was the Bengals, right? And I know their roster pretty well.
Mr. Irrelevant.
I'm like,
So in the combine, his hand strength.
he's got 16-inch hands.
What?
He wears a size 54 belt in his chest.
Yeah, he
110
bench press
inches.
235. Like
His
no,
idol is the Incredible
you
Hulk.
Don't know that. You're making it up. So that's another thing. Is it all made up?
Yeah. Does anybody ever fact check that?
Let's fact check.
We'll fact check everything else in this planet.
The
Do you ever
5th
fact
round, the 23rd pick of the 5th round. Let's fact check all.
I can't wait.
Is that guy even real?
Yeah, and I mentioned you like another unsung hero is like you got like the 20 people that think they're gonna get drafted first,
Yeah.
and then like you got to get the last person in the room, like their coffee or their whatever, their sandwich or whatever it is. They're like, there's a bunch. I could come. I just came up with
one
another
year
one.
that kept showing his face.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Oh, you get Aaron Rodgers another water.
Yeah. Finally, Aaron Rodgers gets drafted. It's like, you missed.
Yeah.
It's like he got his payback.
Give Aaron Rodgers the Zach Morse cell phone to make him at least look something.
That was the other thing, the unsung hero of like, not only that,
That's a good one.
but talk about
the
your
concierge to that last guy in the room.
the fifth round draft pick that like the poor intern, like,
Will you get Aaron Rodgers another
not
cherry
only-
Coke?
Not only do I need all the information on every single college player, but I need their phone numbers and email addresses too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, this is Coach from Carolina. Just want to let you know.
And they got campers in their houses with the whole family sitting around. Like the preparation and the money and the time and the effort that goes into an NFL draft. 'Cause you'll get that guy the 4th round of the pick.
Well, what about this one? This happened a few years ago. There's always somebody that's in the draft that falls because they do something stupid. Pretty much from this point, 12 o'clock, almost 1 o'clock,
Yes.
2 days prior to the draft.
He was going to go 5th overall. Now we're in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And he's still sitting there.
Why? Oh, well, he got caught smoking weed in
The girls' bathroom.
the girls' bathroom like 3 hours ago. And he put it on social media. Like, oh, that guy's going to slide. You know, the one guy, Laramie Tunsil,
So
put the,
I'm
put
going to watch the
gas
draft
mask on.
Thursday just to see how accurate we are.
Yeah.
Like,
Who
caught
did it? Alexa, play Welcome to the Jungle. I told you today was going to be fun. You know,
Yeah, we collected our thoughts. We got back on track.
There wasn't a whole
crazy
lot of thought
weekend,
to it.
crazy day.
we just knocked it out of the park like always. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to next week. We'll be back. We are out of here.
Love you guys.